Board of Education meeting. Today is May 21st, 2024. Can I have a motion to move into executive, to open the meeting?
Right. Motion. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Do I have a motion to open exec?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The Hendrick Hudson School District Board of Education will convene for the purpose of collecting negotiations under the Taylor Law, medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment or employment, or promotion, or demotion, or discipline, or suspension, or removal of a particular person or corporation. No, I think I need a motion. Can I have a motion to move into exec?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome to the Hendrick Hudson Central School District Board of Ed meeting. It is May 21st. Can I have a motion to open the meeting? Motion to open. Second? All in favor? Can we please start the meeting for standing for the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Approved. Second? All in favor? We start the night with some recognition from our Blue Mountain Middle School Student Organization. We're going to call Mr. Giovanazzi, Avery Mazzola, and Madison Parks to the podium.
Thank you and good evening. Before I introduce Avery and Madison, I'd also like to recognize our middle school band who placed overall in excellence a few weeks ago at Great Adventure and a performance under the direction of Miss Catherine Philippon. They had an outstanding performance. They were recognized and they did a wonderful job representing the district. So I'd like to acknowledge them before Avery, Zola, and Madison Parks. So this evening we have Avery and Madison. They are current 8th grader, rising 9th graders who will be here at the high school next year. They're the co-presidents of the middle school student organization, which is our form of student government. They're true leaders in our school, true leaders for our student body. They've done a wonderful job this year organizing food drives, organizing our Super Bowl fundraiser for the soup kitchen, organizing our student dances, creating our theme days for our Spirit Week, organizing and helping with the SO trip to Philadelphia next week. They assist me with the morning and the afternoon announcements, so it's a pleasure to see Avery in the morning and Madison in the afternoon. That's how I start my day. They've both been on high honor roll and honor roll throughout the course of their middle school career. I'd like to highlight Avery is a member of the Modified Girls Lacrosse team. She's provided community service at her dance studio, her Girl Scout troop, and her church. And Madison is a member of the JV Girls Softball team and a member of the Modified Girls Volleyball team. It really is truly a pleasure to work with such dedicated, committed, and caring student leaders. Again, I start my morning with Avery and I end it with Madison. Doesn't get any better than that. So without further ado, Ms. Avery Mazzola and Ms. Madison Parks.
Hi, I'm Avery Mazzola. I'm one of the co-presidents of student government with Madison Parks. This year, we have benefited the school in many ways, but some of the greater ways was helping plan Spirit Week ideas, helping set up the dances, and help organize food drives around the Super Bowl. I'm 13 years old, I play lacrosse, and I'm a competitive dancer. I've completed community service for both my church and I've done nonprofit classes for my dance studio. I've been invested in helping the school ever since elementary school. Now, as I finish my middle school journey, we are getting so excited to go on our trip to Philadelphia, one of the oldest cities in the country. This trip is one of our last trips before we take our way to the high school, and we are so ecstatic about going. Also, Madison and I have been fortunate enough to do the afternoon and morning announcements. We are so lucky that we have been able to participate in the student government program and hope to continue it next year. Thank you so much for welcoming us into this meeting. It truly shows how much a little program can change your perspective on school and mature you in so many great ways.
Hi, my name is Madison Parks. I'm an 8th grader at BMMS. I'm also a very proud member of and co-president of student organization alongside my friend Avery Mazzola. I joined this club in 7th grade thinking it would look good on my college applications. I slowly learned that it was more than just a club and is preparing me for my life ahead. In student organization, we do things like plan school dances, like our upcoming 8th grade dance on June 7th. We also plan food drives like our Super Bowl and our Thanksgiving food drive for kids that are less fortunate than us. We also planned our trip coming up next week to Philadelphia that me and Avery are very excited for. And this is our last trip until next and this is our last trip. As of next year, we will be in the high school, and I hope that we will be able to continue a very special club like this. Thank you.
So we're going to do the obligatory picture because we're at the board meeting. So we're going to ask Mr. Giovinazzi and our students to come up one more time. But as we're doing that, I just want to say thank you for giving of your time and your talents and your temperaments to our school. You do this on top of your courses. And what are you looking forward to most about going to Philadelphia? And don't say the Eagle Stadium.
Yeah.
What's that?
Hershey Park.
Hershey Park. As a socialist,
Like the Liberty Bell or.
everything's been so fun. Say Hershey. Thank you. So continuing on with our recognition, I think it's important that we take a moment to recognize efforts of our Board of Education members. We're going to recognize one in particular tonight. Believe it or not, this position of service is not paid or compensated very well. So our board members that you see here before us do what they do out of the kindness of their heart and a desire to give back, which we're always appreciative of. We do also, in our mission statement and our vision, we want our students to be lifelong learners. And we want to take this time this evening to recognize a board trustee who has modeled that trait for our students. Trustee Stephanie Hickey, we've recently been made aware of that Stephanie has earned Level 1 Board Achievement Award under the New York State School Board Association's Board of Excellence Recognition Program. This program of recognition is designed to acknowledge school board members who strive to continually expand their governance skills and knowledge. Ms. Hickey has earned this award for her continued pursuit of professional learning on various training opportunities offered by the New York State School Boards Association. So please join me in congratulating Trustee Hickey. We're going to do the obligatory shake hands.
You need a picture.
So we're going to have a picture here.
Yeah, we need a picture. Definitely a picture, it didn't happen. We need a picture.
This is a very fancy recognition award.
Come on.
I love this.
Your voted sticker. Well, that training you did.
I know.
Tell us about.
I did, you know what, can I just say, the training?
That's the action photo.
Okay. I just want to say that being an educator and being on the other side of it and learning about different aspects of education, I mean, you're out in the front lines in the classroom, but being on this end is completely different than being in the classroom. And I want to say that I have found a newfound respect for the people who sit at this table, because I really, unless you're here, you don't really appreciate everything that goes on. So I appreciate everyone who's here.
I'm so proud of you. Thank you. hanging over in her classroom.
Exactly.
Thank you. Jane, do we have anyone signed up for audience comments?
No, we do not.
On agenda? Thank you. We move on to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to amend the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Oh, does anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to approve the consent?
Motion to approve.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Over here. Move on to donations. We're just getting to it. Okay, move on to the donations. Tonight we have two donations.
Yes.
The first one is a donation for $3,000 from Richard and Lydia Simonetti. This donation is made possible through the New York Life Foundation for the Hendrick Hudson School District. Anyone have any questions?
So we do thank the Simonettis. We did try to get them here. We gave them pretty tight turnaround, but we hope to recognize them at a future meeting. We are grateful to the Simonettis and the New York Life Foundation. This has already been put to good use, supporting high school art through some pretty sophisticated iPad technology. So thank you for the generous gift.
Can I have a motion to approve this donation? Second? All in favor? Thank you to the Simonetti. The second donation totaling $200 for the Barbara Catherine Scholarship Fund. The Office of Special Education has received donations in the amount of $200 to be utilized to pay for partial summer camp funding for students with significant handicapping conditions. I have a motion to approve this donation.
Motion to approve.
Second? All in favor?
Thank you to the Katzenstein Scholarship Fund. We did go into quite a bit of detail a few meetings ago about
Yes,
this,
we did.
organization. So thank you again.
What's next is the hearing. Do we have anyone here to speak on agenda items?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Superintendent.
Thank you, Vice President Mills. I will keep my superintendent's report brief. In case you didn't know, today is our annual budget vote and board election. That's why a number of us at this table are a bit punchy and because they put a lot of thought in and where I voted. I did vote in my hometown. I was for the second year in a row the first person to vote in the election. They're so early that they didn't have the stickers, so I'm disappointed now, but I did vote. I want to remind everyone the polls are open until 9 p.m. this evening in Franchi Lindsay, and to please exercise your right to vote. I want to thank all of our faculty, staff, and administrators who assisted in the budget development process. Additionally, I want to thank all of our election workers who are helping facilitate a smooth and orderly process. Special thanks to Ms. Carmen Koch, who is our district clerk, who spent countless hours ensuring that our vote is both done properly and in a manner that welcomes our community and the people of that community to exercise their democratic rights. We do have our annual kid vote this evening that is occurring, so we're excited to see what special mural our children will be having in the next few weeks. And thank you to our high school chamber music groups who were voters who stopped by around 3:45 timeframe, were serenaded by a beautiful musical concert to accompany their vote. And thank you to our administrators and staff who allowed that to occur as well. Just a few reminders of some events coming up. I am going to remind us that UPK registration, while we urge everybody to register it by the end of May, we urge you again to do that. We do want to make sure that we capture everybody who would like to attend. I will turn it over to Dr. Roller for a brief UPK update. We did have a meeting with one of our vendors who will be providing that service to us. Dr. Roller, if you just want to update us on some of the outcomes of that meeting, including our 3-year-olds and then the current enrollment as well. And some pretty good news we received.
Yes, so we are thrilled to share that we received word a week ago that the district will be receiving some extra funding through the New York State Expansion Grant, and that will be for approximately $10,000 per student. The current rate of reimbursement is $5,400, so it is a considerable increase. And we know that that will help our collaborators in helping us to make this a positive experience for our students. We met with the folks from the Y who will be serving to oversee the in-district program at both BV and Furnace Woods. We are also happy to share that we have 34 students enrolled at BV right now, 24 at Furnace Woods, and 13 at Rising Star, which is the offsite collaborator that we have been working with for 2 years. So as Mike said, I'd like to encourage everybody, if you have an eligible 4-year-old, which means he or she is turning 4 before December 1st, we would love to have you come and register. We don't want you to miss out on the screenings and all the orientations. If you have any questions, please feel free to call the office, but it is an exciting program and a wonderful opportunity for our families.
Thank you, Dr. Weller, and thank you, Jane Price, for your help in the office, and also to our collaborators who are providing this opportunity with us for our children. Just a few reminders of some exciting upcoming events. Our 3rd annual Hen Hut Sports Fest for students in grades 1st through 5th. They'll have an opportunity to learn from our varsity coaches and athletes on Saturday, June 15th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Those individuals will host our younger sailors in a series of clinics throughout the day. And then really quick, we have our art show demonstrating some of the fantastic work that our high school artists do. I don't know if we can get a quick picture of that there, Greg. We didn't prep for this production, but look at that. It's over that way. You'll have to come here to see it during appropriate hours.
Hi, Jay.
It is great this time of year to celebrate the growth of our students with them as they reflect upon everything they've learned, and events such as this highlight that. So it really is great to see. On the 23rd of May at Blue Mountain Middle School, the 6th grade band concert will be held in the BMMS auditorium at 7 p.m. Also on the 23rd, you'll have the 7th and 8th grade concert following that at 8 p.m. On the 24th, high school will host music in the parks. From the 24th to the 27th, I want to remind everybody that schools are closed for Memorial Day recess. Memorial Day is a time when we honor the fallen service members or the fallen members of our armed forces in service of their nation. From the 29th to the 31st, we do have our, as the 2 young students spoke about earlier, we do have our student government trip. FGL First Aid Field Day will be on the 30th. On the 30th as well, we'll also have BV 3rd grade recorder concert at 9:45 a.m. Furnace Woods on the 30th will host their 4th grade orchestra. I still remember playing Go Tell Aunt Rhody on the recorder in 6th grade. No, you did not want to hear that, and I will not do it again, but I will go visit the kids and see that. On the 30th, we also have Furnace Woods. The 4th grade orchestra and chorus concert will occur in the BMMS auditorium at 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. And then on the 31st at Frank G. Lindsay, we have our pre-K and kindergarten field day. There are no outstanding follow-up responses to community questions from our last board meeting. And at 7:30, I'm going to try this. It won't happen, but just to remind my children to go to bed. It's too early. They're night owls.
I just want to add one thing, and it might not have been on the district calendar, I'm not sure. But the high school has a dance for Hendrick Hudson High School students Thursday evening, spring fling dance for 7 o'clock. So I think the tickets are all $5, but I think we're letting people in at the door. This Thursday, high school students all night.
Thank you. That is the superintendent's update.
Okay. Okay, we're moving on to the presentation of special education presentation. So Lisa, you're up.
We have our executive director for Pupil Personnel Services, Lisa Shookman, who I'm really impressed by the amount of effort the board takes into gaining a keen understanding of the program. A couple of weeks ago, we took time to explore, bless you. Thank you. It's not me, is it?
No.
A couple of weeks ago, we took time to explore what we value in terms of assessment and how we measure that. It's apropos on budget evening that we explore our special education processes, because a major component of our budget is our special education budget. So we want to make sure that the board has an understanding of the components that go into that, some of our processes. So I will turn it over to Lisa Shookman, who is joined by members of our team here in the audience. And thank you all for coming out this evening. Lisa, thank you for presenting.
Thank you. So you can go right to slide 2. So this is unusual of a school this size to have the programs that we have here. We, up until this year, had mostly kids staying in district due to the psychiatric needs or the mental health needs. We didn't have those programs. So though that's the big rationale for some of our kids going out this year. Hopefully we're building them next year. But if you can see, and I'm not gonna read this to you, but if you look at the programs that we have, and this is for next year. So every elementary will have ICT, and the middle school has ICT, high school does have some resource room kids. Each building has, in the K-5, has ICT and skills. The middle school has 15-1, so does the high school. The high school also has a different component called consultant teacher, which means that a teacher sees either the student and or the teacher in charge 200 minutes a week. And that is just for those 12th graders that need the support. They don't need an ICT class, they just need some support in English. Two of our elementaries right now have a 12-1-2. Actually, all three have it now. Next year, we're making it K2 and 3-5. We have a Ready, Set, Regulate in our kindergarten class because some of our students were coming in that had some high behavioral needs, but they didn't need special ed support. They needed counseling. So Mrs. Gargiulo and Mrs. Manning and Dr. Renner started this program where they're in gen ed classes. You would never know they were there. And if they needed some support outside of there, Dr. Renner or Mrs. Manning would step in as a school social worker and psychologist. This year, we have ABC in 2 of the buildings. Again, next year, we'll have ABC in the 2 elementary buildings. We have it in the middle school. We have it in high school. Middle school is the only solo class right now. Probably in 2 years, the year that I retire, you'll need to add a second one there because of the number of students coming up 6 through 8. We have back on board starting next year. It's our therapeutic support program starting only in the middle school. We will have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Right now, we currently have 4 students slotted. There are ours. And I've had other districts reaching out saying, hey, can we send a kid? I said, not yet, we're not ready. And then we have small classes in the middle school and high school, which are no more than 15 students in the class. Our high school also is fortunate enough to have a work-based learning program where any special ed student can take part in it, but Christina has also taken gen ed kids in as well. So those are the programs. I know there's some stuff out there that we're not having the same programs in every building. That is false. Everybody is having what they had this year and sometimes more. So a question I was asked the other day is why tuition students? And I cannot read that from here. I'm going to. So I know the number. I just want to make sure I say it right. So if we were to send out the students that we currently built programs for, it's approximately $150,000. And I'm using a BOCES number because most of our students will need a one-to-one if they go to BOCES. So once they add that on, you're about $150,000 a piece. Yeah, we get aid back on that, but that's not enough to substantiate the cost. And when we keep our own students in district, and we don't have enough if we don't take tuition students. So if you think about, so right now we have 33 students that are Hen HUD students in the district that are ours. That's 61% of the kids in ABC class, and I'm only focusing on ABC, are our students. If those are so spread out and you don't have a cohort enough, you'll be sending multiple cohorts out because you don't have enough to run a class. Because having 2 kids in a classroom with a teacher and 2 teaching assistants makes no sense. And you can only go 36 months between the grades. I can get what they call a variance from the state, but most likely they're not going to give it to me if I say there's only 2 kids in the class. I know some school districts don't follow that rule and they do ask for variances and get 3 and 4 or 4 and 5 years in a classroom. That does not behoove our little guys. And once they hit 16, you can have more than 3 years. So our high school program is primarily our students. So when we think about that, sending our own kids out at 150,000, but getting the tuition in from out of district has really made a huge difference. And when I talked to Enrique, if every $520,000 is 1% on a tax levy, and we brought in $2,424,000 this year from tuition, it makes sense to bring tuition kids in and keep our own students within the school community. I'm not sure if that makes sense to you or have questions about that, but I think when you look at the numbers and you look at the math, if you were to take this away, Enrique, is it a 4% tax raise? If we didn't have that 2.4 million?
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about an increase in 4% tax versus getting an income of $2.4 million. Any questions on that? SEPTA, we've worked very closely with, you know, next one, Greg, sorry. We worked very closely with SEPTA this year and last year. We've been meeting with the officers once a month when it doesn't fall on a holiday or a snow day. SEPTA has really brought in some of our internal presenters, which is huge. So this month, next week, I think it is, we will be having mental health because it is mental health month. And next month, it'll be teachers, related service providers, school counselors that'll be coming and talking about the summer slide. How can we avoid that? What are some things that we can do? So our SEPTA has become, we're finally getting back to what it used to be before COVID, where we're bringing our own internal people in to help our families. Christina, in the past, we brought in OPWDD or Access VR, and we've been taking care of that internally, which is huge. And getting the kids registered through OPWDD, the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, it's huge when they're young. Because it allows them so many more in-home services and services that the family can rely on that does not charge them. One of the big things is insurance. And they can get more BCBA or ABA work at home, respite. That's huge for some of our families that are single parents and or parents that are working and they just need a break. So I am really proud to say our SEPTA relationship since COVID has really, I think, been successful and has been something that we've been able to rely on our internal people. We have brought in WIHD, which did a presentation in March, I believe it was, a couple presentations, but we've tried to do a lot of our own in-house stuff.
I was gonna say, I've been coming to a lot of the meetings. I think more people should start taking advantage of it because there's so much information that every presentation has left me like learning more and getting a lot of information. And I think people should start taking advantage of this because you are providing a lot of information at these meetings, in a very friendly, like terms like that. Everyone can kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So I do applaud the SEPTA for that because it has been, every presentation has been great.
I mean, the group that is leading SEPTA now has really taken us in a good direction, which is very exciting. And it really has focused only on kids. Yeah, there's a couple times we need to focus on families, or I mean adults, but it really is focusing on the families and the kids and how can we support you. The next slide is really talking about the CSE process. A lot of people say it's very difficult to navigate. How do I do it? I really have to say there's our Part 200 regulations that tell us what we can and cannot do. I can't just go classify a kid. You know, if Margaret sends me Jane, because Jane doesn't like school, that's not a reason why someone gets classified, or a 504 plan. There needs to be some really strong rules followed. We do some internal testing. You know, someone's like, I had a 504. No, we requested paperwork for you to sign paperwork for CSE or 504, and you didn't follow up. There's only so many times we have to do that. So there's a lot of misconceptions about the CSE process. I think we're all very open and all very available. If you were to look at our, and you don't have to do it right now, but the hot link for the PBS website, all of our contact numbers are there, all of our emails are there, our secretaries are there. So I think we're pretty reachable and we really have to follow these Part 200 regulations because that is how you run a CSE meeting. It's not just, oh, do you want this? We'll give it to you. And I have found that in the past, when I've looked at some past records, that's what happened. But we really have to look at the kids in a different light. School has changed. What did we have? We had COVID and we had MTSS training today. And even talking to the adults in the room is we didn't change. We came back and did the same things we were doing prior to COVID. So I just want people to feel like they can reach out to us. There's a lot of criteria that falls into this. It's not just the input of the teachers. It's not failing a class. It's not having anxiety. There's a lot that goes into a CSE process. If I'm a school psychologist, I'm testing in a minimum of 10 hours between the testing, the writing, the observation, and sitting at a CSE meeting. So every time we put a child through this testing, it's a lot. It really is a lot on a kid. And we don't say no, or we don't say you're not eligible or ineligible. It is an actual process that we must follow. It's not just a random yes or no. And I just wanted everybody to understand that. But please go to our new website. All the stuff is there. Plus on the left-hand side, it talks about referrals. It talks about the classifications. But feel free to reach out to Ellen, Chris, or myself. Christina's in the high school, but feel free to reach out to any one of us. We'd be more than willing to answer questions. Same thing with the 504 accommodation plan. This is still a gen ed student. This is not a special education student. When your child has a 504 plan, it's usually done because of a medical reason. Or we've had emergency ones. If someone's broken their arm and they need to write for an exam, we do emergency 504, which means I have to quickly apply to the state and say, can I give this kid this accommodation? I think things have gotten a little bit less stressful in some of our testing. But again, they have to have something that impacts their life activity. Can I tell you that, because I don't like, I can't even think of anything. If I have anxiety, that impacts your major life activity. If you're depressed, that could impact you. Depression looks different on every kid. ADHD looks different on every child, but it must impact a major life activity. And that's really important to know because people think they can just walk in and get a 504. The best part is I love when a sophomore or junior parent says, well, I just want it for the SAT. Well, that's not how it works because we don't say that. That's what the College Board does. So we hear a lot of that. No, that's the College Board. We can't really help you with that. And here's how we can help you. Our school counselors do apply for that, but College Board may not say yes. And there's nothing that we can do as a school district. MTSS, I am so proud to say today we started day 1 of our 3-day training. This whole group was full of educators and administrators today. It was quite fun. Actually, I enjoyed it. I was trained by the same gentleman 20 years ago. It was kind of interesting that I don't remember him, but he said he trained me 20 years ago. And he's retired now, does this on the side. But it was just a very eye-opening to see what people were thinking, saying, and how we need to have one continued process K-12, and we'll get there tomorrow and the next day. So I'm very excited about that. But again, MTSS is a general education service. It's multi-tiered. Your first tier is always the whole class. The second tier may be just kids that need a little bit more. Your third tier, obviously, may be a pull-out service. But this could also be not just because they need extra help, they also need to be enriched, right? So we have to think about that when we're doing this process. So it's very exciting to hear where we're going to go. There are 2 articles, you don't need to click on them, right? But there are 2 articles and resources that you can use. And again, they're hot links talking about the MTSS process, what it means, and why it's so important to follow these processes. And lastly is contacting anyone here at PPS. Those are our direct numbers. That's how you can get a hold of us, our emails. I will also say that on the webpage is our secretary's contact information as well. You can reach out to our secretaries. Most of us answer emails probably 24 hours a day, or first thing in the morning, like 3, 4 in the morning. So we definitely will get back to you. Any questions?
Lisa, do we have any parent advocates in place to help people navigate this process?
Yes. So we rely on our SEPTA. So part of the PPS process is we need to know advocates. So I quite frequently will recommend Elmsford Student Advocacy. If you're not one of our parents, but perhaps you're a parent that has sent a kid to us. Let's pretend someone from Putnam. We have a Putnam advocate that we recommend. So we recommend whoever, first, if they don't want an in-house person, so we use our SEPTA. So SEPTA will say, I'll be an advocate. Or one of the parents with a student with a disability can be an advocate, or we do recommend out of district.
So if I'm a parent in the district and I'm not quite sure if my kid needs to go through this process, I can reach out to the people in SEPTA just to talk through the process.
Yeah. And I also would say, Stephanie, I don't even know if you need to go to SEPTA. You can come in and sit with any one of us. I've sat down with people and drawn, should I be a state assessed kid or am I an alternately assessed kid when they are classified? What do the routes look like? What are my pathways? Those are important things for people to know, right? Especially if you want your child to go to college. What does that look like at the secondary level? But if you're talking the initial referral, I think any one of us would sit, and Ellen quite frequently does this, especially on CPSE and early CSEs. She'll sit with a parent, call them on the weekend, go through the whole process with them. We've all done it. It's just part of our job.
That's good to know, because I think a lot of parents are hesitant to reach out because they're not quite sure if that's the avenue or the route that they're going.
Right.
And maybe they don't want to bother you with it.
Correct. But that's what we're here for, right? We want to help you make sure that your child is getting everything and he or she needs.
I also know the officers of SEPTA, even if you don't go to a meeting,
Correct.
have vocally said you can reach out to them and that they will help anyone, they want to help advocate and make sure people understand the process, the terms, they'll go with you to meetings and help you get set up. So the officers would be another great spot. Yes, absolutely.
That's good to know.
Any other questions for the board trustees for Lisa? So Shipley, thank you to you and your team for how you support our students, all that you do to support our students, and for providing this update to the community. Thank you very much.
Can I just say one other thing? In our, with our recovery grant, we have decided on a screener for SEL. It is going to be the Bemis 2. We did a great presentation with the actual, founder of it. He is going to get us a 3 through 5 self-assessment for our kids in the fall for our 3 through 5. And, our teams are really excited. We met yesterday and I swear it was the shortest meeting we've ever had. Everybody was in consensus. Nobody had any questions. So it's very exciting. So that'll be something we roll out in the fall.
I sent the presentation to the board. And I sent the whole presentation to the board as well as slides that you had
Oh,
shared.
I put it in the board minutes.
Yeah, and but then I shared it also with everyone, so everyone should just take time to understand it. We talked about it at the high school PTA meeting as well. And everyone's excited about it. The one thing that I thought was important to note, and one of the parents reminded me, this is not a tool that we're not gonna be giving this tool out to all the kids at one time. So can you explain that?
So what happens is if you give it out at every grade level at the same time, there's no way we're gonna be able to analyze data. So what we're going to do is we'll probably start with the high school kids and work our way down. And it's probably gonna be the 9th to 10th because my concern is the transition. So we'll start with the 9th grade. And then the 10th grade, and we'll do each grade level at a time, analyze the results, do our next steps and create plans for those students we need to create plans for. So this summer, my team and I will be meeting, and bringing in some outside people just to go through how would we write the plan? What does it look like? What are our concerns? How do we know who those kids are? So we've been fortunate that Dr. Renner and Mrs. Manning took some of these assessments. And then I get the emails that I have a severe behavior child that I need to be paying attention to because they took the screener. So we can go through there and really pick out. So if you, I will share this week in the board update, I will share the PowerPoint we did yesterday, which gives you some samples of where our high indicators are after taking that. But, yeah, we have to do a grade at a time or we'll be killed.
And then an intervention process is in place.
Yeah, after each grade, we'll figure out the high flyers. And then each kid will get a plan that we need to do.
Okay.
Yep.
So where are they given this, like, in what class, is it in English and what we?
Well, you jumped a little bit ahead. We're not there yet. First it's a rollout. No, it's a rollout plan that we have to develop, right? So I need to sit with Lauren and say, okay, I don't know if they do iReady, I'm making this up. They do their iReady, they do this. I can't jump in it. And one suggestion of the doctor, he said that we should wait 6 weeks in. So the kids are established in school.
So just to synthesize some of that, Lisa mentioned the Recovs grant. The Recovs grant was a competitive grant offered by New York State with leftover COVID federal funding. And it was offered to school districts to address learning loss and mental health supports. And we qualified for the mental health component of that, a $500,000 matching grant over the course of 2 years. And it was a competitive grant, meaning we had to apply, show need, and show that we could address that need with research-based programs. So thank you to Lisa and all members of our staff that applied for that. And also Lisa mentioned the SEL committee. This is a committee that was started last year and this year to really focus on educating the whole child and the fact that our students need to be able to learn from a mental health standpoint, from a physical standpoint, before they can access what we would like them to do in the classroom. So thank you to all the volunteers on that committee, and to Lisa for spearheading.
Well, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. In favor. Always the best.
We are going to do policy reading. So we have the second, this is the regulation around the visitors to the school. So this is the second reading. Section 1200, community involvement, visitors to the school regulation, 1240R. The first reading, but this is definitely the second reading, so we have to edit that. The Board of Education has authorized visiting days for those who wish to avail themselves of the privilege. These visiting days.
Motion to waive the reading.
All in favor?
I'd like to make the motion to approve the regulation 1240R.
Second. All in favor? All right, anyone have any committee reports?
Safety meeting this Thursday, as opposed to last, but you sent out in your update last week, the code of conduct and the district-wide safety plan is now posted online for everyone to look at.
Correct. So we are in the, we will be holding a public hearing on both the code of conduct and the district-wide safety plan, for, in the next couple of, in an upcoming board meeting. I don't want to misspeak and not have the correct date.
Sure, which are the dates?
But those are, we'll definitely post those and notice those, but yes, those two, plans, we are looking for public comment if they have any. The district-wide safety plan is the one that is public, building-based safety plans obviously have some, sensitive information that we don't want out there. And the code of conduct is a collaborative document that requires community input because it's something we all agree to the expectations we have for our children. So our administrators have had a chance to look at it. They brought it back to their faculty. The policy committee has had a chance to look at it. Our shared decision-making committee has had a chance to look at it. So I think it's polished to a point where we're ready to go public with it. So thank you for bringing that up.
I have a couple of things. So we met as a shared decision-making planning team last week to go over the code of conduct, shared decision-making plan that will go into place next week. Next year, we got feedback from some of the participants that have been on site-based this year. And we actually used the shared decision-making planning team to start a conversation, not only around code of conduct, but also around the cell phone policy, in that meeting. So, you know, it's interesting because everyone has a different perspective on what that should be. So we're probably gonna have to figure out the best way to capture everyone's thoughts and opinions and feelings and put it into a policy, because everyone has a different train of thought. In each building almost? Each building level, but no, just as far as, you know, there's a train of thought that students need to learn how to appropriately use their cell phones and appropriately use their computers and their devices. So if you take them completely away, now they're gonna, during the school day, they're gonna go, they have to be able to function in the world with that.
Was that from the teachers? Cause I can't see a teacher saying that, but I was just.
Yeah, well, but it was a little bit from, you know, that came from the staff.
I think they're both ways that night.
Yeah, it was kind of all over the place. So it's just, there's good points around all of it. So, like I said before, the policy team is not the ones, we'll draft the policy to bring to the board. But this isn't something that we're gonna be able to write on our own. We need input. We really need input. So this was eye-opening and that's the first level of conversation around this, and they're going to bring it to site-based as well and make recommendations to bring them back.
Can I just make a recommendation that we survey the staff? I mean, people survey the staff all the time. And I would like a accurate representation of the whole teaching staffs.
I don't know. If
Just
that's
like,
something
I
you
mean-
do, but if you're going to survey staff, then you have to survey parents, right?
I mean, it could be, I mean, if it's a cool,
So I
I mean,
think that's a
that's-
discussion that we have in terms of the concept of these shared decision-making committees. If we value that these committees are made up of representative groups from across many stakeholders, do we then want to say we're going to open it back up again to every voice, or is it the voices that are chosen to represent those voices? It's a delineation and a paradigm.
my problem with that is they're not chosen, they volunteer, and some people are able to volunteer more readily than others because people work. So I mean, a lot of those site-based teams, it was the same volunteers.
Parent, you're talking about parents. I'm talking staff.
Staff is a volunteer position too, so.
I would assume possibly, and maybe I could be wrong, when we have those kind of meetings in my district, we do sometimes bring what we talk about in one of those meetings back to like department meetings, staff
Yes.
meetings, gather information, maybe not necessarily a survey, but a discussion, and then bring it back. So it's not necessarily we go that day, we make a decision at that moment. we internalize everything they're saying, we go back, we gather some information and come back for another discussion. So I agree that maybe that could be something that we do, so it's not, okay, tomorrow let's make a decision based on who's in that room at that moment, but have a discussion, how do we all feel about this? What do we think? And then bring back
I just
all
want to
the, all the
right,
bullet
I
points.
just want to make sure all the voices are heard, so you know from, especially because for teachers, it's their working conditions.
Yeah.
It's our working conditions. You know what I mean? And what that does to our stress level in the classroom. So I would want to make sure that all teachers have the ability to have input on that. So, that we do a similar thing in our district.
And
Yeah,
it
just
is
make sure it goes back out.
definitely, and it is an expectation, to your point, that it's my expectation that if somebody serves on a committee, they are both a conduit up and a conduit back to the representatives that they have, that they serve, and the committee that they serve on too. So.
All right, so that was that, and 2 points about the shared decision-making plan team. We had a discussion around, adjusting the mission and vision statements that were in part of the strategic plan will now become our mission and vision. They will also be integrated into the shared decision-making planning document. And this all begins July 1st. When after we vote, we have our reorg meeting, we're gonna adopt this, and then we'll go forward, our mission and vision will be from the strategic plan. But we had a conversation in the room around that, and everyone agreed on that.
This is the mission and vision for site-based.
That they didn't know, it's the mission vision for the district that they developed within the strategic plan. We're gonna adopt it as a district.
Okay.
With the mission, the vision, and then our pillars, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we discussed it there, we'll end up adopting it, but I wanted to give everyone a heads up, that's what we're gonna be doing in July, that's gonna be a part of that. And then once that's done, that will be changed everywhere else, so we're all in alignment on that. Sure, go ahead.
So the discussion centered around, there's so much work by so many people put into the development of the strategic plan. And remember, the strategic plan is basically our shared understanding what we want the district to do and where we want the district to go and how we get there. So that's why it's integral in any cohesive organization to have alignment between your strategic plan, your mission and your vision, because it tells us as people who are working to spread that and carry it out, the direction that we need to go. And it drives everything we do. So in general terms, a mission is what your organization, in our case, the district, does. What is our purpose? Why do we exist? And the groups put together the strategic plan state that our mission is to challenge our students and staff to reach their full potential intellectually, socially, and emotionally by developing their passions and their resilience. Our vision is what we hope to achieve, an ideal, what we strive for. Keeping in mind our day-to-day actions are guided by that mission statement. Our vision is to cultivate civic-minded and responsible lifelong learners in our community. So starting July 1, the actions of this cabinet and this district will be guided by those two principles as we engage in our day-to-day operations. This helps us from a practical level when we have differences of opinion or differences in terms of a decision that needs to be made. This helps us refocus what we're here for and what we hope to do. So it's very helpful to have that for us as a leadership team, working with all the stakeholders to move the district towards the outcomes of the strategic plan. So thank you.
And then PTA meeting. I go to a lot of meetings. The high school PTA meeting was actually last Monday. Can't keep track of the days. And there's a lot of conversation about the wonderful thing the PTAs are doing. They had a Cinco de Mayo, which is free. There were so many students, they invite everyone, and they feed them for free, and they play games, they read music, and it was so much fun. And I don't know the exact number, but we talked about that. But Lauren Scollins updated the group on two things that I thought were important to bring to everyone. And that is the plan pilot that we were approved for. So we are one of two schools in Westchester County one of 23 in New York State that were approved for this plan pilot. And I don't really want to speak to it, but I think it's important to share. I don't know if it's something that might go.
So I'll kick in, but I do want to recognize both Dr. Ruller and Lauren Scollins, principal of Hendrick Hudson High School, and their team for applying for this as a way to assist our state, but also get some good professional learning out on a key way to assess our students, which is a performance-based learning and assessment network. So that's the acronym. Instead of putting the B in there, the PLAN, they kept it as plan. And it's a system of performance-based learning and assessment at the middle, at our high school level, so that New York State can study how this type of assessment might be used for more authentic outcomes. Dr. Ruller, is there anything you want to say about the application process, the genesis behind this? It is an honor to be selected to this because there were districts that applied, and clearly our plan, because of the work we put in there, stood out to New York State.
Well, as you said, this is a years in the making conversation at the state level. I mean, we met with the regents in White Plains, I think, before COVID. And obviously that interrupted a lot of their work, but here we are. It was a long process waiting to find out who would be selected. I was thrilled that they were interested in applying. There are 3 pathways, and I wish I had that memorized. We were chosen for the CTE pathway. We are awaiting now to find out who our partner school will be. So the first round was pilots that were interested in learning about the process. The back end of this now is for the state to identify partner schools that have done exemplary work in this area and can partner with us to lead us in the same direction. So I have no idea how long it will take to discover who our partner is, but we're excited about where it will lead and what opportunities it will provide, both for professional development, which was definitely a driver here, but also for our students as a result.
And it's free professional.
It is free. Yes, it's free.
There's a lot of edge-speak within the announcement of this, whether if you go to the website.
Yes.
In general terms, a performance-based assessment is taking a real-world authentic task that our students would do, and using content knowledge and skills that they've developed is to demonstrate their ability to meet that performance task. So
So I just wanted to thank all of you for taking the time to do this, for the staff for being supportive of it, because I think it will really benefit our kids, and it's nice to be at the forefront of something, like an early adopter of something that could benefit our students. That's, not something that I'd like this to be the norm, right? We all would like this to be the norm. And so thank you for doing that. I'm glad we were approved. And then the other thing I wanted to just announce is that students at the high school will have their schedule in June, which is this is what we were told. So that no one's waiting until the last week of August to find out their schedule anymore. So that's what she shared with us.
Great.
That's it.
there'll always be some refinement.
But it's like a rough draft. So the kids, right now, the kids all know what classes they are slated to be in. But they're gonna have a somewhat of a schedule in June. And of course, it always changes. It's just that there's gonna be time to make the changes that isn't a last minute rush to make the changes at the end of August. There'll be more time to do that. So I thought that was a very positive thing to share. And there was also a district level curriculum meeting that I attended with so many staff members, but there's so much work being done in that group. I think there's 6 different subgroups, covering MTSS, DEI, AI,
Differentiation.
grading, differentiation and grading. So it runs the gamut, but it also is another opportunity to give the teachers are very involved in this. There's some parent involvement, and to fill those extra groups, we actually went out and asked more staff members to be members of it. So it's, from what I saw, they're making a lot of progress and hopefully have some changes and suggestions next year. What I learned, what I was taken with the most was the still civic readiness and what other opportunities that brings for Hendrick Hudson. And it also has a piece of similar to the WISE program, where an internship is a part of that. It's just figuring out how staffing works for it, for the students. That's the challenge. And then finding the time. So, this is another great opportunity that the kids are made aware of. It's project-based. It's bringing civics in, but there's also an internship piece attached. It's like a capstone project. So that was something that I learned there.
And any student who engages in similar activities as our student government representatives tonight, or even coming here to speak to us,
Right.
that could count as activities towards earning your points in the seal of civic readiness. So
Yeah.
if there are children and students watching at home who do things on their own that demonstrate civic engagement and civic readiness, keep track of those and talk to your counseling.
That's it for me. Anyone else?
I just wanted do we keep email addresses of students who have graduated?
I had asked that question for many years
We do not.
because I came from a district that always surveyed their graduates.
Because I think it behooves us at this point in time to start to survey the graduates to see what they didn't get, what really helped them in the real world, and what they needed more of.
So approximately 2 months ago, we met with an individual who is the current alumni relations head of Manhattan College to give us suggestions on starting an alumni network. So Lauren Scollins, Beth Gruber, Margaret, were you there? Janitha was
I
there?
don't remember that's not there.
You weren't there? Josh Thompson was there. You guys were there. I wasn't there because I was late.
No, I was part of the
Oh,
website site.
So we did discuss some suggestions on how to have an alumni network, and part of that was rather than paying dues, your dues are participating in an annual survey, and then you're a member of that, and you ask questions such as that, such as job satisfaction, post-secondary plans, do they match what you had? So it's not at a point where we're ready to go public with it, but
Okay.
those processes are
We should invite
put
them
in place.
to come and visit as well.
We have an alumni day where they come back and they visit, and we actually have students who donate money for scholarships for current students.
So it's definitely something that I know Dr. Kleinman has experience in creating, is bringing back particularly people who just went for their first freshman year, coming back while it's still fresh, particularly right before the Thanksgiving holiday, a 2-hour panel.
Turkey Bowl or something. And I don't mean to put you on the spot about this, but there was a survey in Naviance students have to fill out before they can, I mean, it's not a requirement to graduate, but I think it is sort of supposed to be a requirement to graduate. Last year when my son filled it out, there was nowhere for him to put his email address, which he was surprised by, to be honest. But he was like, none of these clubs are even in the school anymore. Like the list of clubs that you check off if you were participating in. So it hadn't been updated in a little while. And I just told him just add your clubs. I think there was a place where you could do that, but it would be just, you probably should be collecting emails in there. From the students as
I don't know if Naviance will let you, because remember, it's Naviance's form. So maybe we need to look at something different, right, as we do an exit. And perhaps instead of Naviance, it could be a whole Google form.
Yeah.
Right, that goes right to.
We'd also want to make sure that our policies are in
Yeah,
place
I'm
to
with
allow
you.
that. I think it would have to be a policy decision to allow students to have email addresses. In other words, could we give them an email address here while they transition to post?
No, but I'm saying.
A personal email.
I'm asking, I would ask for their personal email.
I think we should take a look at the exit survey in Naviance, because there is, I know we have used it where they can put in the email address and then it's willingly a personal email address after you leave, and then you can contact them using that email address to say, how was your college experience? Were you ready? Or, that kind of question. So we just have to take a look at that survey.
Something that.
Good ones.
Oh, you got that word.
All right, is there any board comments or new business?
Maybe the shortest meeting all year.
All right. Can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Motion to end. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.